So as I was working in the barn the other day, it occurred to me that there are a couple of aspects of my operation that I have never shown you in my video diary. One is the process of adding finish to a carving. And the second is what it's like to actually work in the barn, because here we are, beginning of November, and in fact, it gets very, very cold in here, which I could stand, but the finish can't, as it should be applied in warmer climes. Over right here, you see, actually, there's some finish drying, or should be dried by now, on an Abnaki carving I am doing for a cultural center down in southeastern Vermont. And this is, in fact, the name of that cultural center in Abnaki. And then I'm doing a second piece. Just realized I may have given you horrible vertigo by turning the camera around like that. Here is a second piece I'm doing for the same cultural center. And this translates as "We Are Still Here." There's another piece that I'm just about to work on, and I'm going to show you this in progress. So this is the piece, and straight away there are some strange features about it. First of all, it's round, and to make a circle with the basic equipment that I have is actually quite difficult. What essentially I did was to find a piece of square wood or rectangular wood that was bigger, and then to draw a circle in pencil around a plate, and then use my miter saw over there to cut increasingly close to the circle, and then use a palm sander to sand it right down to its circular shape. This piece is, in fact, one of the Kotor ideograms that I told you about a couple of weeks ago. This one, as you can see, is two kind of interwoven G's. One of the insights that occurred to me a while ago is that generosity and gratitude essentially feed each other. If you're generous, people are grateful. If people are grateful, you become generous. And so I created this one because of experiences of generosity and gratitude that happened in Kotor. But today we're looking at the issue of how do you finish this? I'm going to use polyurethane. And the first thing is that I'm dreadfully impatient, and I really want to see what the top is the face of it is going to look like when it's finished and gleaming and lustrous. But really, I have to sort of restrain myself from doing that. And I'm going to do the back first, because the back is the test area. If you do the back first, you get a sense of how absorbent the wood is, and what problems you might encounter. And the back here is sanded down a fair amount, but obviously not as much as the front, which is down to 300, I think. So I'm going to show you how I add the finish. So amongst the many pieces of advanced technology you'll see here are the foam brush, which you're very familiar with. Unfortunately, instead of ordering a pack of assorted foam brushes, I misordered a pack where they were all 1 inch, which is actually smaller than I would like for this. Here we go with our advanced device. And this will doubtless, of course, mean that the square is getting old before its time and is going to be thoroughly wasted. And unfortunately, you're getting to see all too clearly what a hasty and incompetent woodworker I am. So the next step is to sand this down. This is a 400 grit that I'm using. And then I'm going to clean off the sawdust. Not sure what the word is. And then we are going to use some of the wipe-on poly. So I use a piece of an old sheet that I have here. Gets folded up. A little bit on. And again, this is not going to be a final thing. This is going to be sanded and more coats added. But again, you can see how it really brings out that really lustrous color in the wood. Okay, here we go. First coat on the face. One of the things we're trying to do here is fill the letters in, which has the effect of kind of softening them up and also filling in the cut lines that have been left by the gouge so that the whole thing seems much smoother and more intentional. So as you can see, once again, it's got this beautiful, rich color coming out. And the trick here is to fill in the letters without leaving puddles of finish around them, which can very easily happen. You may also see that this small brush, one of the reasons why I hate using a brush that's too small and I shouldn't be using it, it leaves bubbles. And if those bubbles dry, especially in coldish weather, then they essentially leave little craters in the finish, which then have to all be sanded out. And it is a pain. So my way of dealing with this is to smooth it off as much as possible and then go in the hope of bursting the bubbles before they dry and harden. So I've taken that first coat and I've sanded it down vigorously. And now we come on with the wipe-on poly, which we're doing pretty carefully, really. And this will almost certainly require another 2 or 3 coats, but you get the general idea. Sand, finish, sand, finish, sand, finish. Rinse and repeat. And this, I would say, is pretty much done, although I may, of course, change my mind later and do some more sanding and polyurethaning. One final observation. So this is, as you recall, one of the pieces for the Abenaki Tribal Center. And this is looking pretty good. This cherry turns this really wonderful, deep golden red. The problem here is that this is going to be displayed outside. And even if there's a fair amount of finish sealing it, outside, the wood will get affected quite quickly. We may well need as many as 6 coats of polyurethane on this. And the areas that I'm worried about are these wonderfully picturesque areas like this, where it looks really nice, but it's going to be almost impossible to seal that in such a fashion that the weather doesn't get in and start the whole thing rotting from the inside. So we will do what we can, and then we will deliver it, and then we will hope.